As Africa's leading defense news portal, DefenceWeb aims to give you the latest updates on African defense, the South African National Defense Force, and the defense industry. Hi folks, welcome to the DefenceWeb News. In this week's edition in African defense news, Morocco is acquiring new air defense systems, the French Air Force engages Islamists in the Sahel, the Nigerian Navy receives a new AW139 helicopter, Angolan K-8 deliveries are underway, and the United Nations offers $1 symbolic for South Africa's Rooivalk capability in the Democratic Republic of Congo. In South African National Defense Force news, the SANDF has issued a code of conduct specifically for Operation Notlela. The Collins Khosa death judgment has been slammed by the Democratic Alliance. A SA Army colonel has been cashiered. New SANDF 2-star generals have been named, and 44 Squadron continues to work with limited resources. In company news, Sandock Austral Shipyards is making progress with Project Hotel. Denel will pay May salaries after all. Parliament's Defence Committee is deeply concerned by Hoefyster problems. Denel's ventilator prototype is undergoing testing. An electronic manufacturing specialist, Omnigo, is carving out a niche in the defence sector. In African defence news, Morocco's government has approved a €192 million purchase of weapons from France's MBDA, which is believed to be for the VL Mika air defense systems. Saad Diner Al Othmani, the head of Morocco's government, approved a decree on the 11th of May to purchase an unspecified package of weapons from MBDA. The approval came after the government on the 28th of April obtained a loan of €192.1 million from France's BNP Paribas to finance this commercial contract concluded between the National Defense Administration and MBDA. While the system from MBDA was not disclosed, French media earlier reported that Morocco was acquiring 4 VL Mika surface-to-air missile batteries from France after ordering 40 Caesar 155mm artillery systems for €170 million and ammunition worth €30 million from Nexter. The French Air Force, using Reaper unmanned aerial vehicles and Mirage 2000 combat jets, led the destruction of a large number of terrorists in the Sahel during a mission in support of Operation Barkhane. The French Defense Ministry on the 26th of May said the operation neutralized a large number of Islamic terrorists, destroyed more than 40 motorcycles, a pickup truck, 30 AK-47 machine guns, 1 RPG-7 rocket launcher, and a 12.7mm heavy machine gun. Operations took place on 14th and 15th of May south of the Gourma region of Mali and involved French air assets, Tiger reconnaissance and helicopters from Air Combat Desert Tactical Group, and ground troops from the Desert Tactical Groups. On 14th of May, a Reaper was used to identify the group of terrorists, along with several dozen motorcycles and suspicious people. The crew then planned an airstrike, which was carried out by a Mirage 2000D patrol, while several Tiger helicopters were also deployed to help neutralize the terrorists. The Reaper then detected another group of terrorists, and they were subsequently neutralized. The French Defense Ministry said and added that the Reaper played an essential role in the operation. The main role of the crew was to ensure the detection, classification, identification, and coordination of strikes by air assets, Lieutenant Colonel Samuel, head of the Reaper detachments at Niamey Air Base, said. The Nigerian Navy has taken delivery of a new AW139 from Italy's Leonardo helicopters after the aircraft was ordered in 2016. The arrival of the aircraft, registration 312, was announced by the Nigerian Navy in late May. Rear Admiral Ifewela Mohammed, Chief of Policy and Plans of the Nigerian Navy, said during a press conference that the Navy's new AW139 is currently being inducted. Angola has taken delivery of 6 K-8W trainer and light attack jets and will receive another 6 during the course of this year. A photo posted by manufacturer Catic showed one of the first 6, according to aviation reporter Alan Warnes, who said the remaining 6 will be delivered by year end. According to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute's Armed Transfers database, Angola received 2 K-8s in 2019 after they were ordered in 2018. Angola also received 2 MA-60 transport aircraft from China last year. The days of the South African Composite Helicopter Unit as a major contributor to MONUSCO's Force Intervention Brigade, FIB, in the Democratic Republic of Congo could be numbered, with indications the partnership between the UN and the South African Development Community SADC is fraying. This interpretation comes from African Defence Review Director Darren Olivier, following a virtual meeting between the World Body and the regional bloc, with a position paper on reconfiguration of the FIB, the sole agenda item. Apart from the first public confirmation that MONUSCO, currently the largest UN peacekeeping mission, is no longer paying to keep the Rooivalk attack helicopter capability in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the virtual meeting heard proposals for changes to the structure of the FIB. Defense and Military Veterans Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa-Ngakula defended the current composition of the FIB against suggestions one of the brigade's 3 battalions be replaced by a multi-source composite battalion. Also on the virtual table was a suggestion for non-FIB/SADC officers to take command of FIB headquarters. South Africa's formal response by Mapisa-Ngakula, according to Olivier, is strenuous disagreement with the actions proposed. South Africa has, according to Olivier, been covering the cost of having the homegrown rotary wing aircraft in the DRC for some time. He points out a new letter of association proposed for the Rooivalk is a symbolic dollar. This goes back to the suggestion last year following a US decision to cut the amount of funding to the world body. In response, there was a talk of downsizing some of 13 peace missions the UN currently manages worldwide. And in SANDF news, the South African National Defence Force has issued a new code of conduct for coronavirus lockdown operations in response to the death of Collins Khosa, apparently at the hands of police and security forces, and a subsequent court case. The document is titled Mission Specific Code of Conduct for Members of the SANDF specific to the state of national disaster in terms of Section 19 of the Defence Act 42 of 2002, Operation Notlela. Khosa died after he was allegedly assaulted by soldiers, police, and Johannesburg Metro Police at his house in Alexandria for apparently drinking alcohol. The Easter weekend incident drew widespread condemnation and is one of more than 30 apparent incidents of soldier brutality during the coronavirus lockdown reported to the military ombudsman for investigation. Khosa's family approached the North Gauteng High Court after the SANDF said it would not suspend soldiers involved in the apparent murder, even though it was being investigated. Now, the Democratic Alliance says it rejects the exoneration of soldiers from the death of an Alexandria incident with the defense minister, at the same time reporting that they are not cleared. The toing and froing is in the wake of an affidavit submitted to the North Gauteng High Court in late May. The document is purportedly the report of a board of inquiry into the death of Collins Khosa. Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa-Ngakula said during a lockdown briefing in Pretoria, the matter is not closed. Cobus Morea, Democratic Alliance Shadow Defense and Military Veterans Minister, said via a statement his party rejects the SA National Defence Force decision to exonerate soldiers allegedly involved in the death of Alexandria resident Collins Khosa. We are disappointed by the decision and how the SANDF handled the matter. It would appear they rushed the process without following just and proper practices, he said. Moraes goes on to say, it is questionable how the SANDF arrived at this decision. As it emerged, the investigation relied solely on statements by the soldiers and did not take into account the testimony of Khosa's relatives who witnessed his death. Accounts stating soldiers entered Khosa's property, forcefully dragged him out and assaulted him are not factored into the outcome of the internal investigation. It is hard to reconcile how the SANDF arrived at the exonerated decision when they relied solely on one side of the story. A senior SA Army officer was last month cashiered following a review and change of sentence. Colonel Monakotha Joseph Morello, formerly officer commanding of the Army Support Base in Potchefstroom Northwest, heard his sentence of 6 months imprisonment and a 6,000 Rand fine changed when read in conjunction with the section of the SA National Defence Force Military Discipline Code, according to the Force's Directorate Corporate Communications DCC. The initial sentence, handed down by a military judge at a senior court, the DCC said in response to a Defence Web inquiry, was for common law theft. The SA Navy has a new flag officer fleet. This was one of 23 promotions for the 2020-21 financial year, according to the SA National Defence Force. He is newly promoted Rear Admiral Nkomonde, who takes the place of Rear Admiral Bulele Mhlana. He remains a 2-star flag officer and will take up the currently unfilled position of Chief of Staff at the Joint Operation Division Headquarters, South Tabashwane, in June. 2 more appointments for maritime service of the SANDF were also announced. They see Rear Admiral Douglas Ferrer lose the junior grade component of his rank and become the Navy's Deputy Chief. His promotion, along with that of Rear Admiral Giumbulaheni, who also becomes a full Rear Admiral and takes up the vacant post of Chief Naval Staff, effective 1st of June. In the other 3 services, the SA Army acquires 4 new 2-star generals, with the SA Air Force top ranks boosted by 3, and the SA Military Health Service gaining 1 Major General. He is former Brigadier General MP Mfaha. Landward Force promotions see Majors General G.S. Slongwa become Force Structure Planning Chief, MJ Talahisi become General Officer commanding the Army Support Formation, Patrick Dube become General Officer commanding the Infantry Formation, and S. Stratford becomes Chief Director, Army Air Force Preparation. He replaces Major General Nontokobeko Mpatha, declared by the SANDF Human Resources Division to be on special leave on alleged criminal charges and additional to the SA Army HQ structure effective 1st of June until finalization of her case. In the SA Air Force, Kobus Butler, a former officer commanding AFB Yesterplaats and Director of Electronic Intelligence, becomes a Major General with the responsibility for policy and planning. The other new 2 stars in blue are MB Shongusha and SD Malakwane. The remaining 9 new Major Generals are 1 in Command Management Information, 4 in Human Resources, 2 in Defence Intelligence, 1 in Defence Material, and 1 in Logistics. As with other South African Air Force units, 44 Squadron is faced with what it euphemistically termed challenges, and in its particular case, this is having to perform up to 9 different taskings with only 2 aircraft at its disposal and with only 1 serviceable. This includes supporting the SA National Defence Force's coronavirus deployment. The AFB Waterkloof-based transport squadron has 4 aircraft, all C-212 Avacars, built by Spanish manufacturer CASA, now part of Airbus. This is a far cry from one definition of an Air Force squadron, which has it that it is a unit comprising of a number of military aircraft and crew, usually of the same type, typically with 12 to 24 aircraft, sometimes divided into 3 or 4 flights, depending on type and Air Force. And in company news, Sandock Austral Shipyards, previously known as South African Shipyards, is moving swiftly ahead with the construction of the South African Navy's new hydrographic survey vessel that is being acquired under Project Notlela. Sandock Austral Shipyards, which rebranded earlier this year, said the new vessel is a first for South Africa and the continent and will not only provide detailed mapping of the ocean floor and better geographical data for vessels such as submarines, but will also have massive civilian benefits. The SA Navy's new hydrographic research and survey vessel is a marvel of maritime engineering, hailed as one of the most sophisticated vessels to be built in Southern Africa and by a local company, Sandock Austral said. Denel will pay its staff May salaries after all, the National Union of Metalworkers, NUMSA, has said, after Denel indicated it could not pay May salaries and possibly not June or July wages either. NUMSA, on Friday, 29th of May, said it met with the senior management of Denel about the issues of non-payment. We are pleased to inform our members that we secured a commitment that our members will be paid this month, especially the lowest paid, and the details will be announced by management in due course, the union said. Parliament's Joint Standing Committee on Defence is so concerned by the inability of Denel to deliver Badger infantry fighting vehicles to the South African Army under Project Hoefyster that it will ask Defence Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa Ngakula to intervene. This comes after Denel on the 28th of May appeared before the committee in a virtual meeting to brief it on defence projects, especially projects Hoefyster, Bureau and Hotel. Denel was contracted to develop and deliver 264 Badger infantry combat vehicles to replace the Hotel infantry combat vehicle under a R9 billion contract. The delivery of the project was expected to start from 2019 and end in 2023. The committee heard from the briefing that the project is 3 years and 9 months behind schedule, and that Denel is unable to deliver on the agreed contractual technical specifications and price. Over a month ago, Denel said it would put expertise and resources into the design, development, and manufacture of ventilators. This, according to the cash-strapped defense and technology conglomerate, has now reached a critical stage. Denel is coordinating a 4-strong government agency and institute team along with specialized private sector companies to make the local ventilator a reality. The initiative is called Project Sabela. Denel Dynamics, whose normal business is the design and production of precision-guided weapon systems and unmanned aerial vehicles, switched focus to the healthcare field for the ventilator project. Over the course of 30 years, Omnigo has established itself as one of the leaders in the electronic contract manufacturing market serving the defense and security industry. Omnigo started out as Factum Electronics in the 1980s, becoming Omnigo in 1999 through a joint venture with Grintech, subsequently Saab Grintech Defense. In 2015, Omnigo was acquired by Rooivalk as a wholly owned subsidiary and therefore became a part of the Rooivalk Group under the Applied Electronics segment, with Rooivalk injecting tens of millions of rands into the company. In addition to doing a lot of work for Rooivalk, the company is one of the preferred suppliers to companies such as Denel and Headsalt Optronics. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our daily and weekly newsletter, and our other social media platforms if you enjoyed the podcast. Leave your comments below. Thank you for watching. Stay safe during the lockdown, and we'll see you next week.